In this question, there is a small block which is already moving with a velocity of under root of 136, as you can see. It is moving on a frictionless surface. This is a frictionless surface, and it is moving with the initial velocity of under root 136. It climbs up this inclined plane whose angle of inclination is 37 degree, and the friction is present between these points A, this is A and this is B. So in this part AB, friction is present and coefficient of friction is 0.5. Now we have to find out the velocity of the block when it reaches the point B at this point. So let's suppose this velocity of the block is V. So the initial kinetic energy of the block was half. The mass of the block is not given, so I am taking it as m into v square is 136. So this is equal to 68 m. Now final kinetic energy of the block will be half mv square. Now if we imagine that if we compare the final and initial kinetic energies, then we can easily conclude that the final kinetic energy will be smaller than the initial one, because the loss in kinetic energy is being utilized in doing work done against mg and doing work done against friction, because as block is moving up and mg is acting on it in the downward direction, then the work done by the mg is negative and work done against the mg is positive. As well as when the block is moving from A to B, the friction acting on the block is in the downward direction. So again the work done against friction is also negative. So we can say that the loss in kinetic energy, delta K, loss in kinetic energy is equal to in fact it is equal to K initial minus K final. This loss of kinetic energy is being utilized in work done against mg plus work done against friction. The work done against mg will be equal to mg into h, where h is the total height it has ascended. This total height is h. So this h will be equal to, this h will be equal to, this is 3 already, 3 plus this is 3 sine 37, 3 sine 37. Now this h will be equal to 3 plus 3 into 3 upon 5. So h will be equal to 15 plus 9, which is 24 by 5. This is the height by which this block has ascended during the course of its motion. Now work done against mg will be equal to this mg, m into g is 10 and this is 24 by 5, so it will be equal to 48 m, and work done against friction will be equal to friction force F into the distance it has slided in the rough part, which is equal to 3. So work done against friction is equal to, friction force will be mu mg cos theta into 3. So work done against F will be equal to mu, which is 1 by 2, m into g is 10 cos 37 is 4 upon 5 into 3. So this will be equal to 12m. Now the equation will be like this, that the loss in kinetic energy is being utilized in work done. I have already written this equation and I am putting the values in this equation. So the loss in kinetic energy will be half mv 68m 68m minus half mv square is equal to 48m plus this is 12m. So this half mv square will be equal to 8m and m is cancelled with m. So v will be equal to 4 meters per second. So this block crosses the point B with a speed of 4 meters per second. Now we move on the next question. In this question, this is a block of mass m which is slowly, I am underlining the important word, which is slowly hauled up the hill by a force F, which at each point was directed along the tangent to that trajectory, and the coefficient of friction is mu. We need to find out the total work done by this force. Now this is very important word which I have underlined, that is slowly, because slowly means that the net force on this block will be 0. F net on this block will be 0. Therefore the two forces which would be acting on this block will be friction F and this is mg sin theta. Now this will be the normal reaction and it will be balancing mg cos theta. So due to the fact that the net force on this block is 0, this F will be equal to mg sin theta plus friction, where friction will be equal to mu mg cos theta. So F will be equal to mg sin theta plus mu mg cos theta. This is equal to this is the force F. Now let us suppose that this block is being displaced by a small displacement tangentially, which is ds. So the work done by this force will be equal to F dot ds, small work done, and the total work done will be integration F dot ds. So this will be integration mg sin theta into ds plus mu mg cos theta into ds. Now we have to see very carefully that this is ds, this is dx, this is ds, this is dx, and this is dy, and this angle is theta. So ds cos theta is equal to dx, ds cos theta is equal to dx, and ds sin theta is equal to dy. So I can say that this is equal to integration mg ds sin theta is dy, mg dy, plus mu mg cos theta ds, which is equal to dx integration. Now this mg and mu mg are constant terms, so this is mg, this will be mg integration dy plus mu mg integration dx. Now mg into integration dy. Integration of dy will be h, obviously, the total height, and mu mg into integration of dx will be L. So work done by this force will be equal to mg, which is common, h plus mu L. This is the answer. Now we move on the next question. In this question, there is a single conservative force which acts on a particle of mass 1 kg, and this particle moves along x-axis. The potential energy of this particle is given by U is equal to 20 plus x minus 2 whole square. At x is equal to 5, the particle has a kinetic energy of 20 joule. Now by this information, that at x is equal to 5, kinetic energy is equal to 20 joule, and the potential energy at x is equal to 5 is equal to 20 plus this is 9, so it is 29 joules. So the total mechanical energy will be equal to 49 joules. This is the first equation. The mechanical energy is being asked in the first question, so it is 49 joules. Now second question says that we have to make the plot of potential energy between this range of x, and we have to represent the line that represents the total mechanical energy of the system. So you can see that this is a this relationship U is equal to 20 plus x minus 2 whole square. This is a relationship of parabola. This can be written as U minus 20 is equal to x minus 20 whole square. So the coordinates of the base of this parabola are 2, 20. So if I plot this on x-axis, then the parabola will be like that. And its coordinates will be, this will be 2 and this will be 20. The total mechanical energy is 49. So this will be the line of total mechanical energy. This will be 49. Now we have to locate these points also. So the time when the kinetic energy will be 0, at the same time this potential energy will be maximum, and it will be equal to 49 joules. So when U is equal to 49, then 49 is equal to 20 plus x minus 2 whole square. So 29 root is equal to x minus 2 with a plus minus sign, and x will be equal to 2 plus minus under root of 29. So this will be 2 minus root 29 and this will be 2 plus root 29. So these are the x coordinates of the points where the potential energy will be maximum. Now the least value of x. The least value of x will be this one. This is x minimum, because at this point the potential energy is completely equal to the total mechanical and the kinetic energy at this point is 0. If this point is A and this point is B, so the kinetic energy at A and B will be 0. So particle cannot cross these points, and this is x max. And the greatest value of x between which particle can move, it is from 2 minus root 29 to 2 plus root 29. The maximum kinetic energy of the particle will be at the moment when the potential energy will be minimum. So U minimum, we can see that it is equal to 20 joules at x is equal to 2. At x is equal to 2, potential energy is minimum, this one. At x is equal to 2, this term will be 0 and the minimum potential energy will be 20, and therefore the maximum kinetic energy will be equal to total mechanical energy, which is which is 49 minus 20, this is 29 joules. So this is the maximum kinetic energy. The value of x at which it occurs. So the value of x is equal to 2, at which the kinetic energy is maximum. Determine the equation of f as a function of x. So f is equal to minus du by dx, and therefore it will be minus 2x minus 2. The point where f is 0 will be x is equal to 2. So this was the question, which is based on the conservative force and potential energies. Now we move on the next question. In this question, there is a block of mass m which is placed inside a hollow cylinder of radius r. You can see the cylinder. This is the cylinder. This is the center of the cylinder, and this system was initially at rest. Now suddenly, with a jerk, this cylinder is being accelerated with an acceleration of 2g in the forward direction, and this is done by an external agent. Now we need to find out the maximum angular displacement which this block will have in the backward direction with respect to the cylinder. So again, when we are asked to find out the maximum angular displacement, we need to balance the energies, and hence I am writing that pseudo force F is equal to ma is acting in the backward direction and mg is acting in the downward direction. Now the displacement of this block in the x-axis, this one, is if this is r, then this is r sine theta, and this is r into 1 minus cos theta. So the work done by ma will be equal to ma into r sine theta, and work done by mg will be equal to minus mg into r1 minus cos theta. Now we know that the initial kinetic energy was 0 of this block with respect to the cylinder, and also the final kinetic energy of this block with respect to the cylinder is 0. So the change in kinetic energy is 0, and also the work done by MA plus work done by mg is equal to delta K, change in kinetic energy, and work done by MA is MA, which is equal to 2G. So M into 2G into R sin theta minus mgr 1 minus cos theta is equal to 0. So cancelling mgr, it is equal to 2 sin theta is equal to 1 minus cos theta. Now I am writing the identities, that sin theta is equal to 2 sin theta by 2 cos theta by 2, and 1 minus cos theta can be written as 2 sin square theta by 2. So substituting these values in the above equation, then it would be 4 sin theta by 2 cos theta by 2. It will be equal to 1 minus cos theta, which is 2 sin square theta by 2. Cancelling this sin theta by 2 with this, and with that 2 with this 2. So tan theta by 2 is equal to 2, and theta by 2 is equal to tan inverse 2. So theta is equal to 2 tan inverse 2. This is the final answer. So which is the correct option will be option number A. Now we move on the next question. In this question there is a cube whose side is A, you can see that, and this is a hollow cube whose volume is A cube and it is given as V. Now there is a small chamber of volume V by 4 in the bigger cube, this one, and it is completely filled with water, 10 kg of water. Now this water leaks out from this hole in the bottom and it completely gets filled in the bigger cube. Now we have to find out the work done by the gravity in this process in which the water is leaking from the smaller chamber to the bigger cube. Now we are assuming this base of the bigger cube as a ground, and therefore in these kind of questions we locate the center of mass and we find out the potential energies. So this height will be A by 4 and this height will be A by 2. So this complete height will be 3A by 4, and hence the potential energy of the water initial was mg, h is 3A upon 4. This will be the initial potential energy of the water. Now when this water gets completely filled in the base of the bigger cube, here this water is being filled, and let's suppose the height of this water is h in the bigger cube. Now this h will be equal to this h can be calculated easily by equating the volume, and the initial volume of the water was equal to V by 4, where V is A cube, so it was A cube by 4 initially, and finally it has covered an area of A square. This cube has a base area of A square, So it is its volume will be A square into H. Now this H will be equal to A by 4, and therefore the new center of mass will be this, and this height will be x, let's suppose. So x will be equal to h by 2, which is A by 8, and the new potential energy finally will be equal to mg A by 8. Now work done by mg will be positive, because this water is coming down and center of mass of this water has came down. So the work done by this mg, work done by mg will be equal to u initial minus u final. So this is mg into A is common, 3 by 4 minus final potential energy is 1 by 8. Now this is mga, LCM will be 8, this is 6 minus 6 minus 1, so it will be the work done by mg will be equal to 5 by 8 mga. This is the final answer. Now we move on the next question. In this question, there is a system of two blocks of mass 3 kg and 5 kg. They are connected with a spring of stiffness K, and the friction coefficient between both the blocks in the surface is mu. The values of m1, m2 and mu is given below, and we have to find out the minimum value of this force F, which is needed to be applied on 3 kg mass, so that this 5 kg block starts to slide. Now starting from the reverse direction, the condition says that this 5 kg block needed to be slide. So this 5 kg block will slide due to the friction, due to the spring force, and this spring force F should be equal to, F minimum should be equal to the friction force, which is stopping this block from moving. So this F minimum, this is minimum spring force which is required, will be mu into 5g and it will be 10 newtons. Mu is 0.2, g is 10 and this is 5. Now this spring should have a force of 10 newtons, so that this 5 kg block starts to slide. Now most of the students do this question by equating the force on 3 kg block, and let us do with that method, and I will tell you the correct one, that it is 3 kg block. Now this spring force which is acting on this 3 kg block will be in the backward direction, and the frictional force will be acting in the backward direction also. So it will be mu into 3g and it will be 6 newtons. So this F which is required to move this block will be this F minimum plus F max. So this F will be 10 plus 6, which is 16 Newton. So 16 Newton will be the force required to move this block if we equate the forces on 3 kg block. Now let us do with another method, method 2. In this method we will equate the energy on 3 kg block. Now this is 3 kg block and this is force F, and these are the forces which are acting on this block other than the applied force. This is F max, this is the spring force, and this one is the friction. In fact it is F minimum. Now we are assuming that this 3 kg block is has moved by a distance of x due to this force F. So work done by F will be F into x, and till this time this 5 kg block, which is placed behind 3 kg, will not move, because condition says that we have to move that 5 kg block. So only this end of the spring has moved, this end of the spring has moved by a distance of x in the direction of F. So work done by F will be F into x, and work done against friction will be equal to mu into 3g into x. This will be equal to 6x. Now work done against spring is equal to half kx square, and we can write the equation as work done by F is equal to work done against friction plus work done against spring. Now work done by F will be equal to F into x, and work done against friction is 6x, plus work done against spring will be half kx square. Now cancelling this x with these x, so F will be equal to 6 plus half kx. Now we all know that this spring force kx is equal to 10. So F is equal to 6 plus half into 10. So F is equal to 6 plus 5, that is 11 Newton. So we can see that the minimum force required to move this 5 kg block is 11 Newton, and it is obtained by balancing the energies. So in the cases in which you are being asked that what minimum force is required, then you should remember that you have to balance the energy and not the force. So this method of balancing the force will be wrong, and this will be the incorrect answer. This 16 Newton will not be the correct answer. The correct answer will be this 11 Newton. Now we move on the next question. In this question, which is based on the stability of the objects, in this question a uniform body is made up of a hemisphere. This is the hemisphere of radius r, and this hemisphere is mounted just below a circular cone of height h, and this cone is solid cone, and their base is common. So we have to determine the largest value of the height of the cone h, which is required for the consistency of stability of this body, which means in the simpler words that for what largest value of h this body will be in the stable equilibrium. So first of all, we know that the center of mass of this cone is at a height of h upon 4. This is C1. This is h upon 4. And the center of mass C2 of this hemisphere is 3r upon 8. This is C2. Now let us assume that the combined center of mass is C, and it is at a height of h, small h, I am assuming it. This is ground, and this height is small h. Now this will be when we will tilt this cone like that in this position, then the combined center of mass of this system will be at this point, and if I draw this line, then I can see that if this angle is theta, therefore this height will be, this one will be h minus r. So this is h minus r, and let's suppose this is y from the ground. So this point has a height of r. So I can write the potential energy of the system in the tilted position u as mgy, where y is equal to r, this is r, and plus r minus h minus r, r plus h minus r cos theta. This height will be h minus r cos theta. So the potential energy of this system will be mg r plus h minus r cos theta. Now for stable equilibrium, du by d theta, which is equal to mg into h minus r into minus sin theta is equal to 0. So this equation is satisfied only when theta will be 0. You can see that if this complete function is 0, then this theta will be 0. So if I double differentiate this function, d square u by d theta square, then it would be mg r minus h by using that negative sign into cos theta. So for stable equilibrium, this double derivative should be greater than 0, because we know that for stable equilibrium u is minimum, and therefore d square u by d theta square should be greater than 0. Now mg r minus h into cos theta, mg r minus h into cos theta at theta is equal to 0 should be greater than 0. So mg r minus h cos 0 is 1 should be greater than 0. So r should be greater than h, where h is the height of the combined center of mass from the ground. Now we know that the value of h can be calculated. H is equal to, now I am calculating the value of h by using the formula y1 into v1 plus in fact m1 y1 plus m2 y2 upon m1 plus m2, where m1 m2 is the mass and y1 y2 are the y coordinates of the center of mass of these two objects from ground. So you can see that y1, let's suppose y1 is the center of mass of this hemisphere. So this height from the ground should be equal to 5r by 8. So this is 5r by 8, and as the material of these two objects is same, so I can write the volume instead of mass because density will cancel out. So the mass of the volume of the first object hemisphere will be 2 by 3 pi r cube plus m2 will be the mass of the cone, and therefore the volume of the cone will be pi r square h by 3 into its coordinate of the center of mass of the cone will be this one, and this one will be equal to h, in fact r plus h by 4, r plus h by 4 divided by this m1 plus m2. m1 plus m2 will be equal to 2 by 3 pi r cube plus pi r square h by 3. This is the value of h. Now if I substitute this value in the equation above, then I can see that in the first equation, then I can see that r is greater than, this is 5 by 12 pi r की power 4 plus this is pi r cube h by 3 plus pi r square h square by 12 divided by 2 by 3 pi r cube plus pi r square h by 3. Now cross multiplying it, we will get that 2 by 3 pi r to the power 4 plus pi r cube h by 3 should be greater than 5 by 12 pi r to the power 4 plus pi r cube h by 3 plus pi r square h square by 12. Now cancelling this out, and 2 by 3 minus 5 by 12, or in fact I can say that this pi r to the power 4 by 3 is common. 2 minus 5 by 4 should be greater than pi r square h square by 12, and cancelling this out, this will be 3 by 12 pi r to the power 4 should be greater than pi r square h square by 12. So this 3 r square should be greater than h square, and h should be less than root 3r. So the maximum value of h max for the stability of this system will be root 3r. This is the correct answer. Thank you.